news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Warmer weather, sunny skies, summer is here. At the Walker, this means mini golf is open on the rooftop. Artist-led activations return to the hillside, and the cinema has a series of curated films. It's the perfect time to visit. Gallery admissions are free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org/summer.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms expected late with a low of 73. Then Wednesday, another chance of showers and storms with a high of 88. Grab a tray at Cafe Latte and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. Cafe Latte is at Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in forward directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we got a jam-packed show. As always, we have our friend Gina Pelier coming on just in a moment here. And then Isavela Lopez will be on later talking about giving us an update on her court case. And I don't know, we'll fill everybody in on that. Unbelievable that she has to go through this. And I just want to put her story out on blast. So all our relatives here in the Twin Cities and all over Turtle Island know what she's going through and what ICE did to her, and is still doing to her and her family. So before we get going with Gina, I just want to give our relatives out there in New York City a big shout out, especially the ones booing the orange one. It warmed my heart when I was watching the NBA finals last night, and keep up the good work, and just awesome, very awesome. So let's get to it right away. We haven't had Gina on in a while, and it's really great to see you, Gina. Thanks so much for coming on, and we got a lot of updates to go through, so great to see you. There you go. Oh, Gina, you look like you're muted right now. This is awesome. Uh, Try and unmute yourself there. And while you're doing that, again, just talking to our relatives in New York with that great show. I also want to give a shout out to the Albanians that are protesting against a planned luxury resort backed by a company linked to Jared Kushner, son-in-law of the president. Again, things are still kind of weird here in the United States, to say the least, and we want to make sure that that we still talk about it, and we talk about it all the time. And also, too, I want to give you guys a quick update while we're waiting for Gina to come back on. And one of the things that I've been working on, as probably a lot of you know, is that I've been working on the magazine The Circle, and The Circle has been around since 1980, and I am now managing editor of The Circle magazine, which again has been around since 1980. It's a Twin Cities based magazine or newspaper at the time, and I'm changing it now to a quarterly magazine where it'll be kind of under like the New Yorker. It'll be shiny pages with arts and articles, and we're putting that together this week, and it'll be to the printer and should be out at the last week of June. So really excited about that. Really excited about all the positivity that has been my way or towards me, all the positivity of, that we're keeping this great magazine going and things like that. Hey, Gina, thanks for coming back on. I love that shirt. Welcome to Native Roots Radio as always.
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yep, hear you good.
Awesome. Yeah, the shirt was gifted to me by yourself, Robert. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I wear it a lot, actually. I get a lot of comments on it also.
That's great to know. Gina, let's talk about what's going on and let's get right in it. We got a couple segments, and I really want to get some backstory of what's happening and how people can support your work and really just know what's going on here. So, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. So we have right now that something that I really, really want to talk about, and I'm really hoping that we can get really active participation from our communities. Not that many people know, but right now, Pipestone, a very sacred area to many indigenous nations and people, is being threatened by a pipeline that Magellan One Oak wants to put within 1 mile of it. And so Magellan One Oak, there was a pipeline that used to be in commission, and it was recently decommissioned back in, I believe it was 2022. It was decommissioned by the U.S. Department of Interior, and they completely declined the new right-of-way permit. And so now we have Magellan One Oak who wants to come in, and they say it's absolutely critical that they build this new pipeline, but all it's going to do is just transport diesel and gasoline and jet fuel. And we all know that we don't need those resources. We have other resources we should be utilizing. And, these corporations, these companies just want to do this just to fatten their pockets. And really, quite honestly, one, we don't need these pipelines. And two, it doesn't need to be so close to such a sacred area. Pipestone has been around since time immemorial, and tribes from all over Turtle Island would travel to this area. They would lay down their weapons and just come in peace. We had historically warring tribes that were at war with each other who would come to this area, lay down their pipes or lay down their weapons and harvest the catlinite right side by side. And so this is such a sacred area that it completely baffles my mind that Magellan One Oak would even want to come put a pipeline next to it, And these pipelines, they cause so much damage when they are being instilled, like we saw with Line 3. Even with the frack outs from the construction of the pipeline could damage the catlinite within the pipestone. And the catlinite is what we use to make our sacred pipes for our ceremonies. A lot of indigenous tribes around Turtle Island. And it took millions of years to form, and we only have that certain type of catlinite that we're able to make pipes in that area. And there's not that much left. And it's so porous that a little spill could destroy what's left. And I really hope that we could get Crow Creek's president more out there, maybe even on the show, to really describe how important the pipestone is to their people. They talk of the story of the white buffalo calf woman and how they taught them how to live and saved them. And when I hear him talk about it, it just, reminds me of my Anishinaabe connection to wild rice. Wild rice basically saved us from extinction. And we were told as long as we respect wild rice, we'll thrive. And so hearing Pete Lemke from Crow Creek explain this really instilled it into me that, this isn't just battling another pipeline. This is protecting such a sacred area that it is critical to Indigenous nations that, we protect the Catlett Night, not just for Indigenous nations, but for everyone, because this is such a spiritual place. You wouldn't drive a bulldozer through the Vatican, this is a great big place of worship. And so we're really hoping to bring communities together because the public comment period is open. The Public Utilities Commission has opened a public comment period. And so it's open until June 22nd. And we are really encouraging people to submit their comments. And you don't even have to be from Minnesota. You don't have to be Indigenous. You just have to respect the fact that we all have a right to our spirituality, to our religion. And this place is such a sacred area that, like I said, so many tribes from all over came and laid down their weapons and were peaceful in this area.
Well, hey, we are here with our friend Gina Pelier, and it's great catching up with you. And it's always kind of sad for me that we have to catch up during these kind of crises in our community. But I'm also happy to have you be able to let our listening audience know what's going on with us Indigenous people, us Native Americans all over Turtle Island. So it's a double-edged sword to see you, but I'm glad you're on, and we're going to talk more with Gina Pelier. This is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Ho! Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible Indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Warmer weather, sunny skies, summer is here. At the Walker, this means mini golf is open on the rooftop. Artist-led activations return to the hillside, and the cinema has a series of curated films. It's the perfect time to visit. Gallery admissions are free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org/summer.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend Gina Pelier, and we're talking about some more sacred attack on our sacredness. And I really appreciate you bringing up uh, this. We talked to IEN too about this a week ago, and I'm really glad that we're amplifying it again with your organization. And Gina, you want to talk a little bit about your organization? We'll get back into protecting Pipestone.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, yeah, Mark Tilson from IEN was on last week talking about this. And that was a really good show. He's really, really good on the radio. And so, yeah, I'm currently the chair board of Mukwa Minkana. And just at like IEN, we are part of the Redstone movement, which is a movement that was um, built to protect pipestone. And there's many different groups and organizations that are associated with it. Shout out to, the Braveheart Society, IEN, Indigenous Protectors Movement, and Indian Collective. And then also within the Redstone Movement, we've had tribal nations who have also been involved and have been working with this for quite a few years now, trying to resist this pipeline. And, it's been really nice to not only work with all these brilliant people, but to like bring all our resources and capacity together because, the Braveheart Society and Chewing Faith Spotted Eagle, they were really smart by hiring a hydrologist and an ecologist and also like really demanding that um, Magellan One Oak works with tribal nations. It's not just about consultation, it's about actually getting consent. And if, these corporations were getting the consent of the tribal nations, we wouldn't be in such a devastating period in our society right now. Like the Orange Man in office, our healthcare is a joke, our education system is just really, really sad. And we have nearly half of full-time working Americans unable to afford a one-bedroom apartment right now. And so it's just like, not only with the pursuing of protections for pipestone, it's really about demanding not just state and local and federal governments to get consent from the tribes, but even these corporations to work with us. And so what we saw with, the work that Braveheart did is that, as we heard Mark Tilson say, that the PUC actually straight up told Magellan One Oak that they had to work with Minnesota Indian Affairs Council in finding an Indigenous cultural survey person, and they didn't do that. And it was, and then, when Magellan One Oak put out their survey, even myself reading that survey can tell that this is incomplete, inaccurate. Like it seems like someone without a college degree education wrote it, and if I can understand that and see that, everybody else can too. And, you could just read one paragraph and see that, it's unacceptable. And so even with the way that One Oak is conducting business right now, it's quite clear that they're incapable of building a pipeline or managing a pipeline. On top of that, they basically have no morals, wanting to put in a pipeline like this that will not only destroy like life sources, it will poison the water, it will poison the land and the animals around it. And we all know that the water here in Minnesota, supports thousands and thousands and thousands of life. It flows all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, and any of the water in the Gulf of Mexico does makes it way over to England and all that stuff, and then it flows north, to our Canadian neighbors. And so, even putting Line 3 in Minnesota was an immoral act. It's just like a straight up war on our water, on our livelihoods. And so really, we're just asking the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission to deny these permits. It's unacceptable to even think to allow Magellan One Oak to put this pipeline through, not just, in, but also next to such a sacred spot as Pipestone.
One of the things too that we talk about here on Native Roots Radio, and I know that you're really locked in too on, Gina, is that we're in a drought here in Minnesota, and we are in a climate crisis, and I live a few blocks away from the river, and the river's low. The dams aren't even flowing. And this is June, and it's hot. And I'll tell you, my sage is like 4 foot high now, and it should only be about a foot high. It's crazy.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, with all these freaking floods, wildfires, droughts, like it's coming, it's here. We do still have ways to mediate that. I'm always talking about hemp. Hemp restores nutrients to the soil, it cleans the air. You can fill your cars out of hemp, build houses out of hemp. Anything made out of plastic can be made out of hemp. You can make batteries out of hemp, roads, buildings, everything with hemp, and it's just like we have, and it's not just hemp. We also have other biomaterials that we could and should be using, like tea leaves and stuff like that. And, it's really unfortunate that the society let the oil barons, the cotton farmers, and the wood producers to use racism to make hemp illegal, just so they can fatten their pockets. Because it's just so easy to grow hemp in your backyard, refine it in your garage, and use it as fuel in your car.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I don't know if you know this, Gina, because you're much younger than me, but all through the Twin Cities, there was a streetcars that went everywhere. And of course, it's kind of the movie Who Framed what was it, Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That movie is based on tire companies getting rid of these streetcars, and that's what happened here in the Twin Cities. And they just there's a main street called Grand Avenue in St. Paul, and they just pulled up all these old tracks that are still there and took them out and they haven't been running the streetcars since the 1950s, and they went everywhere. They went to lakes. You could go anywhere. We had the best. And now we have light rail, which is not very good here in the Twin Cities, but we had everything at one time, and the greed got us.
Yeah, isn't that something? Like we have ways of doing better. We can do better. And we all know that these corporations don't care about us. These fossil fuel companies make trillions of dollars in 1 year. We saw during the pandemic, they raised their prices, boasting about record-breaking sales. And
Right.
so, with the Redstone movement, we're also pursuing stronger, more permanent protections for pipestone. And as we can see, Robert, like there is one common denominator with all of this, with the pipelines, with the mining, with the data centers. It really is the corporations, the society, the system that was built up against us, that was built off of genocide and slavery. And that's one of the reasons that there is this continued genocide upon us indigenous people. It's because we're proof that we can do it better, that we are able to do it better. We're also proof that the land was brutally stolen in a barbaric way.
Yeah.
But that's just it. And I thank my ancestors a lot for making me an Anishinaabe woman, because I understand, like I have that ancestral knowledge to know that we are capable of doing better. And that's what our prophecies said, like if the light-skinned people came bearing gifts and worked with us, we all would have prospered and we would all be thriving. But they came with weapons, and look at where we're at. People all over the world are being oppressed. There's so many dangerous, destructive projects going on, being shoved down our throats. And here we are, begging in the streets to stop it, like stop the
Yeah.
violence. We just want to live as Mother Earth intended, in right relationship with each other. And I'm really excited Issa's on next. I've been praying for her. I've been following her story, and, as Indigenous women, we are really being attacked. And, to see her take such a strong stance is really motivating and empowering and gives me hope. And so, yeah, really super excited to hear what she's got to share with us.
Yeah, I am too, to hear an update of what's going on, because it's ridiculous. If you know Issa and how good of a person she is, and all the things that she's going through right now is ridiculous. And it's almost like, all the years of Leonard Peltier being in prison, they're making an example of her. And that's just not right. Hey, Gina, we only got like a couple minutes left. Let people know how they can, one, support you in this action, but also know more about your organization.
Yeah, so I'm a chair board with Mukwa and or Mukwa. It's mukwaandminkana.org, an Indigenous organization focused on uplifting climate justice and Indigenous sovereignty. It's Indigenous women-led. I really love it. It's really fun. So like I said, we are pursuing stronger protections for Pipestone. We will be pursuing state policy. One of the legislation pieces we want to enact would be protecting Pipestone, the catlet knight, just like the eagle feather is protected. And there's some few other things on there too that sometime in the future I'd like to get on. But right now we are urging everyone to submit their comments. They can email consumer.puc@state.mn.us. And the subject would be docket number 23-109. And please just ask the PUC to deny the permits and protect Pipestone. And I keep telling everyone, yes, they submit and show, everyone who's made a comment. So if you hadn't made a comment, I'm going to know, and I'm going to be secretly judging you in my head. So if I give you a little strange look in public, you'll know why. But we're really encouraging to please submit those comments. The deadline is June 22nd. And it's just quick and simple and easy. It takes about 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm on it. So now that I'm glad you gave me that information about that. Hey, thanks a lot, Gina. Come on the show anytime. You're great. I really appreciate you reaching out, and let's do this more often. Great to see you. Hey, we'll be right back. This is Native
Thank
Roots
you,
Radio.
Robert. Drink your water.
That's right. We'll be right back. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Warmer weather, sunny skies, summer is here. At the Walker, this means mini golf is open on the rooftop. Artist-led activations return to the hillside, and the cinema has a series of curated films. It's the perfect time to visit. Gallery admissions are free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org/summer.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms expected late with a low of 73. Then Wednesday, another chance of showers and storms with a high of 88. Grab a tray at Cafe Latte and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and desserts. Cafe Latte is at Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul or at cafelatte.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and hey, I just heard from Isa, and she's at KFAI Studios, thinking I was there. So I hope to have her jump on here as soon as she can, maybe through her phone. I guess our instructions weren't clear enough that we're on StreamYard. Hey, one thing I want to do, and I wonder if Misko, you can jump on here. I wanted to talk a little bit about the show that's coming on right after us locally on AM 950, and that is Chase Iron Eyes. And it was an amazing show. And you'll have the opportunity to hear that right after our show. And he is unbelievable. And we really appreciate teaming up with him. And so I was just wondering too if Misko, you could join us, talk a little bit about what your feelings are and what you thought, because it was pretty amazing. We recorded it earlier today, and it'll be on right after our show, and it just was really. Really, it was an amazing thing, and you're on mute right now. So,
Yeah.
Misko, what did you think as a young person listening to Chase?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning a lot about, I consider myself a young adult. I'm 25, and just learning a lot about what's going on through working with you, Pilot, and hearing about what all of these leaders in our community have to say. And I just want to say, listening to Chase speak about what's happening, across Turtle Island, and especially here in Minnesota, I don't know, it just makes me feel like I need to be more educated, need to be more informed, and I just highly recommend everyone to listen to it, because I felt like I learned a lot just listening to it. And Chase is a really good storyteller and a really good speaker, so I think anyone who listens would really enjoy what he has to say.
So, do you feel like being a young person, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff because one, you're a young person and you're trying to find your way with who you are, with your own work and relationships and things like that. So, do you find it hard to keep up with all this stuff? Because it's daunting. There's 3 or 4 things happening to us as a community every day.
Yeah, I think especially growing up with social media, there's a lot of news and a lot of fake news, and it's hard to decipher, what's true and what's not. And then also does my thoughts matter on anything? Do I matter? Does my voice matter? And so again, having people like Issa, having people like Chase, having all of these great guests on the show really make me feel like, okay, I do need to learn more about what's going on in my community and globally.
That's a really good segue, because I do believe Issa is with us right now. Let's get her aboard here. Issa, welcome to Native Roots Radio. Good to see you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I
Good
can.
to see you.
Thank you. Really excited to have you on and really give us an update. A lot of our audience across Turtle Island do not know your story, and I'm wondering if you could just tell your story and then talk about where you're at with it right now. So again, I really, really appreciate you coming on.
For sure. Yeah. So choose na la Isabela. Hi, my name is Isabela. I'm on like 20%, by the way. I don't know if I can switch over to my iPad, but really quick. I just want to say, so this around this time last year, I was um the first huge ice raid happened in Minnesota for like this under this administration on Lake in Bloomington. It happened around this time this year on June 3rd. And that day I came out with community and stuff. And that was when I was pinned on the ground by federal agents. And from there, a couple days passed away, and I went in with an interview with Georgia Fort. And there, as I was coming out of that interview, that's when I was arrested by federal agents. After that, I was taken to Sherburne County, and I was there for like 4 days. And a lot of the people from the Twin Cities came out for me. I've been organizing for like about 5 years here in Twin Cities. And so a lot of people came out for me. Really thankful for them. My Dansanta group, Kapolia Shnoti, came out. And that's how, honestly, I'm even being able to be here, honestly. Because there was community pressure, they released me. And so for a year now, I've been kind of just waiting because I had 4 charges on me. 3 of them were assaults on a federal officer, one of them being interference of investigation. And finally, my final court date's going to be the 23rd of this month. And, you know, they offered me a plea deal, which was, you know, just a misdemeanor, one misdemeanor. And so, yeah, that's why now I'm able to, you know, speak and talk more about it. So it's been crazy.
Well, Isa, you're about 5'4". I just want people on the radio to know that I'm sure you could assault somebody, but this person that you supposedly assaulted was like 6'4" or 6'2". It's just a ridiculous charge, a trumped up charge. And we talked about this earlier that they're trying to make an example of you.
No, exactly. And I knew they were, because now that I can speak on it, that day, I remember as they were leaving, some of the federal agents like looked at me and they said, "We're gonna get you, like, we're gonna come for you." And like, I guess, you know, days after that, I posted a video on it because even before they came here to Minneapolis, I saw what was going on in California. Like, I was very much attentive to like how they were just going off on like and like taking people all over California. And so like I knew the same energy they showed up here, and I guess, you know, that's why I showed up the way that I did. And yeah, I heard about other people's cases too, Chicanos like me, you know, also brown and like, you know, indigenous descent, that were also having trumped up charges. And it's just like, yeah.
How can people support you and find out more about you, and is there a GoFundMe or anything to support you? Because one of the things that they do is they charge people with things, and then you have to fight it, and that costs money. So is there any way people can support you? Is there a GoFundMe or anything that we can talk about?
Yeah, I do have a GoFundMe. Honestly, we're calling out for people to come to the court date on the 23rd. You know, just to have like a community. Yeah, just show people that the community's here. Like, if, you know, if anybody lives in the Twin Cities, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at the Hennepin courthouse, across the street from like the mayor's office building. It's going to be June 23rd at 11 a.m. We really want, you know, to just have people show up and support on, you know, that day of the court. For me, it's all about making a statement, you know, of just like we're still here. We're going to be here. And like, we know that you're targeting us. And that's everybody on the South Side, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, they were even taking in people that have like, you know, like that are like from these fucking lands. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cuss.
Hopefully they caught that. hopefully,
I'm
hopefully
sorry.
they caught that at the radio station. Yeah. Just we want to keep our license, especially with these days of Trump that are looking to get rid of progressive radio stations. Be careful.
Yeah. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Okay, no problem. I'm
Yeah.
sure they got you.
Sorry about that. But yeah,
No problem.
we also have IPM on their page, on their Instagram. There's a GoFundMe for me, just where I'm at in life, you know. So I've been having to switch over and like kind of be more on the DL and focus more on like just working in the movement but behind the scenes and like doing artwork and just kind of doing more things when it comes to music and like poetry.
Well, I love the fact that you are brown and proud, and that's what we like to amplify here on Native Roots Radio. We're all relatives here, and we're all from Turtle Island, and I love talking about that because I think a lot of people get a misnomer about our relationships, you know, and our relationships with our people. We all are indigenous to Turtle Island, and that's why, you know, your story is so important to everybody because you you belong here more so than the Europeans. So I just want to say that real quick, like.
No, and I appreciate that, Robert. Because like you even see, I remember I worked at Little Earth for a year, and like being there, you know, like a lot of the residents there are like, you know, they mix in with like a lot of, you know, the immigrants from like, you know, from Mexico or like from
Mhm.
Central America. Like I remember I helped translate, you know, for a resident there at Turtle Island, you know, because I think his daughter was like Anishinaabe, and like, you know, he's you know, he's Mexican but only spoke Spanish, and so I had to translate for him as he was like coming in to Little Earth, you know, and
Mhm.
just things like that. Like I feel like, you know, our community is like one and the same for me, you know, like.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I appreciate, I think, Gen Z and younger people because they do understand that, I think, more so than the older ones like me that are my age. You know, I'm old now.
Mm.
He said it's a sad deal, but I am old now. And I really appreciate Gen Z because they do know what's going on. They do know who they are, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I mean like you know, my dad, so I grew up, I was able to grow up in a life where I got to go back to the motherlands and visit where my dad's from, and he's Zapoteco, you know, he's like he still knows his native tongue, you know, being indigenous to Mexico. And honestly, sometimes when I'm in Southside, it reminds me a lot of Oaxaca, like where my dad is from. Because over there they have like a rural mixed in with like the city, like indigenous vibe, and I feel like Southside has that too. You know,
Yeah.
it just looks different, and like we to me we are the same.
Definitely. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Make sure your phone's charged up there and that your potty mouth is, we're going to get soap for it. But I guess they did catch it. So Patrick's a hero. And we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Isa. This is Native Roots Radio. Oh,
All right, I'm going to switch my
Culture
device.
prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats because your heart beats for generations.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Visit during free Thursday nights. Every week from 5 to 9 p.m., there's something new to explore. Enjoy date-friendly events like artist talks, performances, and exhibition openings, or explore art-making open library hours and exhibition tours. Settle into your weekend among community. Free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
I always love hearing the roar from Wendy's bear on that bumper. Hey,
Yeah.
we are back, and this is Native Roots Radio, and like you heard, Isavela Lopez, battery was low, but we were great to get all that information. I can't believe there's videos out there showing that these bully ICE agents, and I didn't realize it was in June. So ICE has been here a long time, and we know they've been funded, and they really made that big push. Trump made that big push in the winter and brought in 3,000 ICE agents, and now we're dealing with the backlash. But good on her. What do you think when you hear a story like that, Misko? I know it's like, I talk about us natives being low key and not wanting to be counted in the census, not voting, not signing up for voting because of what all these things that have happened to us, for 500 years. And here's a great example with Isa.
Yeah, it was really crazy because for the past year, I was working at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, and it was really kind of scary to work down there just as a brown person and to know that they're targeting, our indigenous relatives. It's just super scary, and just really grateful for all of the young people and people in general who use their voice and who are out there, challenging the ICE agents, challenging things that are happening to our community.
Yeah, I agree. And I just feel like Issa's one of the nicest people I've ever met. And so when you go through and see somebody like that go through what she's going through, and again, her court date's June 23rd, and we have to probably put that down on our calendar so we can go there and support her. And here she is again with her phone all charged up, I bet. We're just saying how proud we are of you and Misko and I, and thank you so much for coming on. And it's very courageous what you're doing, and it's great to hear your story. And also it's a double-edged sword because it's so scary for us, and I can't imagine how you feel.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the helicopter go over me right
Yeah.
now, but like that's literally how it feels sometimes, where it's like I don't know, where I think we're in a state of like literally hyper surveillance, like we're in the stage of like, what's the word, like militarized surveillance, where it's like like the phone that you use, everything, because that's how they found me, was after the video I posted. And so like yeah, just like knowing that like the times are just very different now, and just the administration we're living under, it just has no tolerance, quote unquote, for people that want to speak up. And
Oh,
so,
and one of the things too, Isa, I gotta just mention this real quick. What do you think all these data centers are about? They're powering surveillance on American people, and they're really pushing on that. And I don't think people know that.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think people realize that like data centers hold our data. Like all of the like these companies that we use, which is like Google, like Amazon, like Microsoft, like all of these programs that we use need data. And so like that's why they create more data centers. Um, so we can keep using like this utility that like we pay for, but yet like it's like
They
gonna
own,
harm us at the end,
right?
and like they're like investing into things that are giving them more control over us,
Right,
and like people don't realize how much like we're allowing this to become like a commodity, like not even a commodity, a utility, something that like we need.
right.
um but it's really not something we need.
Right. I have about 10 external hard drives where I used to save stuff all the time, and it wasn't really that hard. And now they're forcing you
Yep.
in one way to go to the cloud, and that's a good thing. But what you're talking about, it is not a good thing. Can you explain a little bit more about what you just said about how they found you? Because I don't think I ever heard this.
Yeah, so like, and that's the thing. I mean, I've been kind of holding off speaking on this because like it was just super eerie. Looking back at my own like files and stuff of like why they charged me or whatever. The discovery. Um, they were watching me, like to find me. They found me first on social media. That was on a discovery, and then like they found my ID, and after they found my ID, they found the car that I was driving. And after they found the car that I was driving, they started using all these different cameras that they have, around the city to
Mhm.
find my car. And so they were able to pick me up on one of those cameras on the car, and, find me in St. Paul.
Wow. That's crazy, and I know this has been going on for a while because I think anyone that was including ourselves, we started the show 10 years ago because of Standing Rock, and we went to Standing Rock, the No Dapple, and we
Yeah.
went there many times, and everyone that went there is probably got their face recognized. There was only a small part of the hill. They were blocking all the internet. There was only a small part of the hill, and they called it Facebook Mountain,
Mm,
where you could get out and call anybody or do anything live.
yeah.
And so it's been around for a while, but they're really, really kicking it in now, especially with this administration.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's like, you know, the age of the internet is something that's like just moving so fast compared to other like evolutionary, like, I don't know, like times we've been in. To
Mhm.
the point, I don't think people are allowing people don't have enough thought to understand their sovereignty in it or like their autonomy in it.
Yeah.
They're just allowing tech companies to do whatever they want. And like our fight now, or like our resistance, you know, you have to be strategic with it. It's not just about like, I guess, like posting on social media. It's also about like how you're doing it in real time. Um,
Mhm.
because I could post a bunch on, and like raising awareness, right? Or, from what I've been doing is like building actual connections and relationships in
Mm.
my community,
Yeah.
and like build the actual real authentic like platform as me as a person versus me as like my profile or anything.
Mhm.
um and not to knock on those people, because like I think it's always good to raise awareness. um but I think that we also have to be cognitive of like what it's doing to our humanity, because one thing I have noticed about my generation, young people that are younger than me, I have a brother that's younger than me, and like I have a lot of love for them. And sometimes I am concerned about like, just being a little bit more antisocial and stuff. Um
Mhm.
and like that's not good for the movement, you know?
Right. Well, we only got like less than a minute going here, and you did really well. No swearing in this last segment. That was good. Um, and how can people support you? And also talk a little bit about June 23rd at 11 a.m. and where people can come down and really, really support you.
Yeah, so I have a GoFundMe on my petition. So the petition's no longer live just because, like, because of the plea deal. But I still have my GoFundMe up, just supporting me as, like, as an artist. Just because I have to shift things now as, like, being an activist artist, I guess. But my final court date is going to be June 23rd at 11 a.m. at the Hennepin Courthouse. We're probably going to have a press conference after the final court date. So.
Well, again, Pinagigi, thank you so much for coming on, and really, we got your back here on Native Roots Radio, and really, thank you for all you do, and you are a true warrior and a big Pinagigi. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you.
Thank you so much.
Say hi to my friends at KFAI for me. Oh, wow.
I will. I'll see you.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are the Resistance.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. Air stands